Live from the part of YouTube that has been indicted for lying to the FBI about its penis size, it is the Zankoku Tenshi Show. The show that Roy Moore was going to date until he found out that we were over the age of 18. And now, here is your host, a man who has not been groped by Al Franken, at least not yet, Zankoku Tenshi.
Hello, everybody on the internet and everyone on the stream and who is going to watch this, which would probably be about 2 people, maybe 5. I don't know. It is I, Zankoku Tenshi, your host for this horrible show. And it's been a while since I've talked to all of you out there. Yeah, after October's marathon, what seems to always happen, I ended up getting sick, and then I horribly hurt myself, and then I was in quite a bit of pain for about 2 weeks. And actually, it was probably around like this last Saturday or Sunday where I actually started feeling like a human being again. So yeah, things have gone really weird. Though I did have that experimental live stream where I tried to stream like 2 devices into my PC while online gaming, and it was just a complete travesty, except for that wonderful guy in the chat who was talking about Blue Kush 69, because you know he smokes and has sex. Classic stuff. So anyways, everyone on the internet, this is my show, this is what I do, I talk about stuff, and I talk to you, and usually there are people in the chat, and they ask me all a bunch of inappropriate questions, would you rather questions, or what do you think about this questions, but apparently, since I've been out of commission for quite a while, nobody cares anymore, and they've all left me. So, anyways, I have one viewer who is anonymous right now, or I've seen it at 0, so it can't be me, right? Anyways, so maybe it is me. I don't know. Anyways, so there is a lot of stuff going on in the world today. A whole lot of stuff going on. So let's start with the sexual assault apocalypse that's going on in this world, and my actually not surprised by it, at least in the world of entertainment and Hollywood. I mean, come on, everyone's heard those stories about the Hollywood parties and the casting couch. Those aren't just, urban legends that just come up as like little warning stories. They're based in some truths, and obviously they're very based in truth. But yeah, that's the whole idea of like, who'd you have to, screw to get that gig? Who do you have to blow to get that acting job? That was the joke about Hollywood, but apparently the joke is reality. But we all kind of knew it, and they all sort of, looked the other way because I think Harvey Weinstein just ended up getting thrown under the bus. Maybe he was the one who was thrown to the wolves to try to keep the rest of everyone safe, because I'm sure Harvey Weinstein is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the Hollywood debauchery. I mean, all of a sudden we get all this stuff about like Matt Lauer, and then there's these talks about like other people within like the news and other television shows. I mean, Kevin Spacey basically got wrecked, and House of Cards is kind of like in limbo right now, which is sad because I really enjoy House of Cards, and I did really enjoy Kevin Spacey. He was one of my favorite actors. I mean, I guess he still is one of my favorite actors. I like watching his performances. But yes, it is kind of sad. Well, not kind of. It is sad that he can't control his urges, and he's got to get all handsy, and just like. And the thing is, like, and then you get all these stories about these politicians too, like Al Franken and Roy Moore and John Conyers, among other things. I mean, we've always known politicians were kind of sleazy anyways. I mean, this isn't like the first time we've heard about congressmen doing inappropriate things with constituents. I mean, Bill Clinton happened. And so anyone surprised that the politicians are doing this must not have heard of Bill Clinton, because Bill Clinton is like the king. But it kind of goes to show, like, as long as people agree with your politics, they'll let your crap slide. But he like raped women. He cheated on his wife constantly. He had just like a revolving door of hoes coming into the White House for him. I mean, it was just, it was party central for him. And but that's one of the things that is indicative of these kind of situations, is that is power. People, when they have power, temptation. Temptation's always there, but opportunity, the opportunity gets higher. So there's like this thing about, like, crime. You need to have motive, and you need to have opportunity, and you need to have the will, or lack of will against it. So, and motive is, why do you want to do this? Why are you doing that? And opportunity is, you have an opportunity. And actually, the strength of opportunity is really powerful. I know that a lot of people talk about things like, there are things that you would not do unless you thought you could get away with it. So that's the whole thing, is like, most people wouldn't steal from a grocery store. Most people wouldn't. There are people that do, of course. They're horrible people, but most people would not steal from a grocery store. Now, sometimes when there's an outdoor display and it's not being guarded, some of those people who would not steal from a grocery store may thought cross their mind, go, I could just take something and no one would know. Late at night, if they keep it out overnight, stuff like that, when people aren't looking, things like that, distracted. There is a small percentage of the people who would not normally just go into a grocery store and steal something that would steal there. Because why? The opportunity has increased itself. And so, the same thing, like, let's say, like internet. Like, there's a lot of rules that we wouldn't break in regular society, but there are a lot of rules that we would break on the internet. Things like a lot of people have probably downloaded music or downloaded a movie or something like that. Or maybe a lot of people have gone and jailbroke their Amazon Fire Sticks and watch streams of things on sites that are kind of outside of the norms of copyright law. They wouldn't normally go to a video store and steal a movie or steal these shows, but they would do on the internet because the opportunity is much, much higher there. So when you're in a position of power, you have a great amount of opportunity because you have this ability to use that power to kind of get away with it, to either intimidate people into silence or intimidate people into complacency. And after a while, especially if you're surrounded by a lot of people who are like yes men, yes women, people who are, I guess you would say, like acolyte for you, people who will help you, cover things up, protect yourself. It becomes even more tempting to do things because you have a greater opportunity to do these things and to have no repercussions. And that's probably what happened. That's definitely what happened with Weinstein. He's this big shot producer. He likes the ladies. Men, for the most part, are sexual beings, whether they're straight or gay. They, and obviously Kevin Spacey, as an example, a gay person, they have perverted thoughts. I have perverted thoughts. We all have perverted thoughts. We see a beautiful female on the straight side, or a handsome guy on the gay side. You see someone that is attractive, and you think, oh man, what would it be like, to like, or you see, a wonderful booty, and you just, and the thought crosses your mind, like, okay, maybe I want to, I would love to, like, maybe get my hands on some of that. But 99% of the time, we don't do that. However, sometimes, we just don't go up and do that. There are times where we try to get to know the person, talk to the person, get a relationship. However, there are people who are in positions of power who want to use that power. So, for instance, you're a big shot producer. You can say, hey, you want to get into films, you want to become an actress, I can help you do that. And then you get a little handsy, and the person is, not receptive to it, but in their mind they might think, well, if I pull up with a little bit of this, maybe I can get something, But I'm not saying that's what should be happening. I'm not saying that. I'm saying what might be going on in the mindset of this situation is that, look, there's like, on the other hand, it's like, okay, I'm being assaulted here. I don't want some guy grabbing my ass. However, this guy is a big shot, and if a little ass grab can get me my big break, can get my script read, can get me a spot on a show, get me in the door, perhaps I'm going to deal with it, bite my tongue, and as long as it doesn't cross a certain line, I'm going to live with that. And I think that kind of was like the mindset of a lot of people involved with, both Harvey Weinstein and others in the politics world and things like this. Is that, look, okay, this is not appropriate, but I'm going to see if the promises of this person is going to benefit me. There's also the spot where if they are like employed, so like he's working, and one of the interns, one of the casting associates, whoever, walks in and they've got a nice body, and versus like I would like to get with that, and then all of a sudden it comes up to you, it's like, hey, I think you're looking pretty nice. Maybe even like trap you in the office and make unwanted advances toward her. And then all of a sudden you get this situation where it's like, look, I've got this good job. I've got a good job. I make decent money. This is the boss. I can't say anything. I don't want to, I don't want to rock the boat. If, he gets a little handsy, whatever, as long as it doesn't cross a certain line, I'm good with it. I mean, there's that mentality also where it's like, I don't want to cause trouble. I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to lose my job. I don't want the he said, she said situation. And so in all these situations, because that person has power, it gives them this kind of pseudo-immunity to the consequences of the actions. But all it takes is just one person to throw that all away, to say, look, I don't care about consequences for me. this is completely ridiculous and unacceptable, and I'm not going to tolerate it, and I am going to say something, and I'm going to speak up about it. And, you know, kudos to those people who do that. Because it's like a linchpin where, you know, the one person does it, and then all the people sees what happens, and they see that they have, like, some kind of cover, which is a good thing. But the thing is, like, really, you should always, like, if you are all in a situation like that, you should always say, hey, no, I don't want anything like this. Don't do this. I'm not interested. I'm never going to be interested. Just stop right here. And if it continues, I'm going to have to, you know, tell somebody. I'm going to have to do something about it. And if you lose your job for it, then that's when you go and you make your story bubble. It's like I got fired, and like, I know some people will complain, yeah, but then they'll say it's like sour grapes for getting fired and things like that. And yes, it is complicated, but, you know, you need to take stands, because the problem that happens when you don't is the problems that we're kind of seeing happening right now. And that is, now there's claims all over the place, getting thrown at everybody in every which way. And some of them are, well, some of them are quite possibly false. I know it's hard to say that, but in today's world, there are people who see a trend and think, like, you know, I need to get in on this because there's some sort of advantage for me in it, whether it is to gain notoriety, to gain sympathy, or to use it to blackmail or get something out of someone. Because we have, like, this case with what is it, that writer? I think it was a writer on the show Girls, who has come under attack by someone, and it looks very sketchy from what I've read about it, that this person was trying to extort money from this guy, and then when he, like, refused, then she basically went public and said that he did all this stuff, while so far everyone involved with the show that I've seen speak out, and it may have changed since I've last read, but it seems like everyone involved in the show is kind of taking the side of the writer, saying, like, this doesn't seem like the writer at all, and everything seemed fine, and it could be that the writer has done some wrong things, but the thing is, like, her story is a little bit flimsy. And you have other things happening where it starts to look like people are trying to take advantage of this situation. And I'm not saying that this case is one. I'm just saying this is an example of one where it sounds a little bit like that's the case. And that's the danger that we run in, is that because people wait for things like this, and then there becomes, like, this kind of flood of accusations, there could well be people who are getting caught in the floodwaters, who are being taken advantage of by opportunistic people who are seeing this trend and saying, look, I can use this for my advantage. And that's the wrong thing. And it's funny because you see articles by people on the left who say that they don't care if innocent men get their lives destroyed by false accusations, especially during this time, because it's very important that the truth comes out. And if, let's say, you know, 10 or 100 innocent men get destroyed, so be it. That's just what needs to happen, which is really ridiculous. It takes, like, the whole jurisprudence basis of our country and flips it on its head, because it was like the whole saying is, like, I would rather see 1,000 guilty people go free than one innocent person convicted. But instead, the way they want to twist it is they would rather see 1,000 innocent people be destroyed and incarcerated then one guilty person go free. So it's really sad. And so hey, Jim the Thug, hey, what's up? Long time no see. What do you think about people who sucks the cops' dick, and the people think the cops are angels, and not all cops are bad, just some are. So you're so there's a difference between like people who sucks the cops' dick, your words, and people who generally believe that the vast majority of police officers are good. So there is a difference. Look, my uncle was a police officer. He became a state trooper, a sergeant detective, and after he left the force, he became private security for some people, some wealthy people, and he is a very upstanding person. He is. But he's also a good guy. He's not like a stick up the ass. It's like, you're not like on your best behavior with him. You don't have to be. He's a really good, even keeled guy. But yeah, he's also huge. He's like 7 feet tall. He is like he was literally brought up on police brutality charge, and the guy pressing charges told the judge, look at him. That was his case. Look at him. That's brutality. And of course the judge laughed and dismissed the case immediately. But that was, he can be intimidating, especially, in uniform with a gun and a billy club. As if he would need them, because he could crush you with his large hand. But no. So and also in my job, I have talked and worked with some police officers. I work with people who are married to police officers. So I mean, I guess maybe I have a bias, but the vast majority of police officers are good people who want to do the right thing, want to do the job, who really do want to have to not do anything on a given day. That's what they hope for. They hope that they don't have to ever draw their gun. They hope that they never have to get their handcuffs out, because that means there's no crime going on. There's no trouble. There's, things are relatively peaceful. But the thing is, they know when things go down that they'll have to do stuff. But once again, like I was talking about earlier, they are in positions of power. So you do have that temptation and you have that opportunity. And there are people, and that's why it's so important when it comes to training and evaluation and the whole psychology thing. You need to have the right people with the right psychology and the right training and the right moral character also. So, and yes, people slip through the cracks. And when a police officer goes over the line, when they abuse their power, they need to be held to account for what they've done. And they have to pay the price. And if administrators are looking the other way, they have to pay the price. And if they're giving cover and they're not, administrating the law fairly and justly and equitably, then they have to pay for those ramifications. Yes, there's been a story in my local area about a DA or an assistant DA who was drunk driving. He crashed into a parked car, and the police kind of just let him go because they found out that he was like a DA, he was like or something like that, and those guys got in trouble, and they should get in trouble because they shouldn't be going. Look, they shouldn't be setting one set of standards for one group of people and another set of standards for others. They need to have it equal. That's why the whole thing with Hillary Clinton and the Trump Russia investigation just boggles my mind, because we have two separate standards where Flynn lies to the FBI, which is a crime, and he should be punished for it. And so he gets indicted, and he pleads guilty, while Hillary Clinton lies to the FBI, but isn't indicted, doesn't have to plead guilty, isn't charged, isn't anything, and is basically, so far, walking off scot-free. Two separate sets of standards. Why? Well, because one is a candidate for president, while the other, was, like, I can't even remember what position he was going to be. If it was, like, Secretary of Defense, I think, maybe, or Secretary of State. One of those things. I don't know. But it's the same thing, you know. So, like, yes, anyone who defends the police, no matter what, you know, and say, like, oh, you know, okay, they shot, like, the unarmed guy, like the whole, like, Walter Scott thing that happened. That guy got sentenced to how many tens of decades of prison, which he should, because he straight up murdered someone. I mean, that's what he straight up murdered a person. But someone who defends that person because he's a cop, just because he's a cop, and that the cop can do no wrong. Yes, they're wrong, and they are kind of part of the problem. But on the other hand, you have people who say the cops can never do right. The cops are always wrong. The cops are the problem, which is not true. Cops are not the problem. You know, the problems that are happening in high crime areas, the murder capitals of the country, aren't because cops are there. It's actually because cops aren't there. They're not there to try to stop this stuff. They aren't allowed to police these areas. Stop and frisk actually worked in places where it was implemented, because it got rid of guns from people who don't need them or want them or have the right to have them. And when areas that did it and then were stopped from doing it, the murder rate increased again. That's just, you know, that's just, you know, you're now tying their hands, and it is shackling their ability to try to protect the peace, you know, and that's the sad thing. So yes, you have both things on both sides, both extremes, and yes, they're both wrong, but what we do need to remember is that the vast majority, just like the vast majority of a lot of groups, like, for instance, the vast majority of police officers are just doing their job. They want to serve and protect. They do an upstanding job. They do their best. They are human. They do make mistakes. And when they do make an honest mistake, yes, there should still be repercussions, but we should also, you know, acknowledge mistakes. And when people are abusing their power, when people are doing the wrong thing, they need to be held account. And anyone giving them cover needs to be held account, especially if those people are people in power who are basically enabling them to do that stuff. Yes, that's what. So that's what I think about that situation there. So yeah, it's tough, because yeah, I definitely have a pro cop bias, because I know a lot of police officers, and I know them to be really good people. And sorry, it's been a while since I've talked for a long time, so yeah, I'm getting a little dry. But so yeah, it does. I don't know how to use the word upset me. It does make me mad when people like umbrella term, like, you know, one bad cop story and then all cops are exactly this person. Um, Anyone could easily do that. Say, you know, look at this one case and let's apply that to everyone. So, for instance, you know, let's look at Hillary Clinton and go, look, all female politicians are liars and are mishandling classified documents and have no idea what they're doing and should be disqualified from service. Oh, also, and they're evil. Just because the one is doesn't mean they all are. But when someone is blatantly guilty of stuff, they should probably be punished for it. I'm gonna leave it at that. But yeah, thanks for the question. I mean, there's definitely I've heard of a lot of anti-police officer sentiment, which just boggles my mind because they, on one hand, a lot of that comes from people who want cops to not be around because they are actually ones involved in the crime, and less cops mean less chance of them getting caught and less chance of them going to jail. But there's also a group of people who are they literally are delusional when they think that if all cops were gone, that somehow like societal problems wouldn't happen. And that's, you know, like when people, you know, are being watched, once again there's that whole thing about opportunity again. So like when there's no cops around, when there's less chances of repercussions for actions, the opportunity costs, or, you know, the opportunity rises, and people who may normally not take advantage of situations will start taking advantage of situations, and that is wholly unacceptable. And so yeah, we need rule of law. We need people who help administer that rule of law. Otherwise, we end up with chaos and vigilantism. And the problem with vigilantism is you get wronged, and you hear it's this guy, and so you go after this guy, and then you find out it's not actually that guy, and you've wronged someone, and now someone's going to have to vigilante you, and it was all because of a mistake, and the person who actually perpetrated it is scot-free gone, and yeah, you've just created a horrible situation. So yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, you know, there are some situations where there are a lot of certain group that is causing problems. Like, for instance, not all social justice warriors are trying to create an authoritarian state and enslave people that disagree with them and put them into re-education camps and maybe even kill those who wrong think. However, there is a large portion of the social justice movement that wants that stuff. So, you know, it's, you know, some people you can have a conversation with, and there's some people who want you to be dead. And then there are some people who want you to be thrown into a re-education brainwashing camp. So, you know, it's you know, and well, the same thing. You know, there are people on the counter to social justice who, you know, want to destroy them and put them in re-education camps and want them to be killed. So, you know, it's the things like. So, what would you do if all women were cannibals that kill and eat man after they are inseminated, not just sex, or not sex, just inseminated? So I guess the question is, do they kill the person who inseminated them, or do they just start killing like all men? like you know, the minute like, for instance, like the what was that, List of the Dead rape zombie. You know, when the zombie it infects the woman and kills him, but instead, in this situation, when the the ejaculate hits them and it impregnates them, and all of a sudden causes a chemical reaction with them. Is that the case? No, they just killed the man who inseminated. Okay, well then, you know, I don't care, because I will be safe, because no woman now wants to have sex with me, and so all the sex that I've had beforehand doesn't matter unless it's retroactive. But I don't think I don't have any children. Don't have any children, so I don't know. So I guess I'm in the clear, I guess. I don't know. No. I mean, like Jim, you just come up with these nightmare scenarios. What would I do? Well, I guess, you know, condoms are a thing, you know, and they're pretty damn cheap, and there are a lot of places that give them for free. You can go on the internet and get free samples and things like that. So, you know what? I mean, unless it busts, and I think you're relatively safe. However, I'm sure the birth rates would go down dramatically. And my God, the third world would be just filled with cannibal women eating all kinds of guys. Like, in the Maury show, there would be like one guy with like 5 women trying to eat him. They would have to cat fight over who gets to like eat him. I guess. I mean, like that. It's horrible, but I would say it's sad, and I would like definitely try to find a cure for that. And let's just add that the women are also. Why don't you just say all women are cannibals at that point? I mean, like literally, like, so the women know this happens, and yet they're still going to be jackers. They're still going to do that. I mean, do the women know this is going to happen to them? Do they want to actually become cannibals? Is that the case? I mean, I think, like, they wouldn't want to be doing that. I don't know. I mean, like, I would think normal people would have this idea that eating a human being is disgusting and vile and repugnant, and they wouldn't want to be doing that, and therefore they wouldn't want to be jackers at that point, because I mean there's I don't know, it would be an interesting movie, though. It would be an interesting horror movie, because there would be this interesting story dichotomy about a situation where, like, people still want to do it, and safe sex is really, really safe sex, and yes, there would be a lot more abstinence too, which, you know, is the #1 way to prevent things like that from happening. But yeah, it would be like this sort of, you know, you'll eventually have this situation where there will be like this like, I think it would actually, now that I think about it, it would be a good time to invest in the sex toy industry, because that ship's probably going to go through the roof, because, you know, there are going to be men who are afraid to do it. There are going to be women who don't want to become that and won't do it. And therefore, there's going to be a lot of needy women, and their biology is just going off, and they're going to be needing something. And therefore, you know, the largest company in the world is going to be, you know, the God, I don't even know the name of any companies. Someone can help me out. Whatever, Dildo Incorporated will be like the #1 giant corporation in the universe. But no. I mean, in the third world country, it would just be mania, because, you know, there's all kinds of unprotected sex going on there, and so there will be a lot of problems. Yes, they don't mind. They get a big orgasm from killing and eating man. It's like an addiction. Okay, well then that's the end of the human race right there. I mean, that literally would be the end of the human race. I mean, the game would be over. The game would be over. And Harvey Weinstein would be eaten within seconds. Within seconds, Harvey Weinstein would be eaten. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, when that happens, within about a month, we will have cybernetic sex slaves. We will, because men will be. Well, then there's going to be a lot of rape against men. There's going to be a lot of women raping men because men were going to be like, I'm not going to be able to have that. We're gonna invent the sex bot because that's what's going to happen. Because men like this, how invention happens. There is a need, and people are going to try to figure out how to fulfill that need, and someone's going to find a really awesome way of doing it, and they are going to become a billionaire, and it would be the end of the human race. Men will start to find hordes of raping women. I mean, women will be very rapey, and they will be trying to, because you're saying it's an addiction, and they get this gigantic orgasm from it. And so, yeah, I mean, it's basically what would happen if feminism gained control of the world. They would go around raping men and then eating them. I mean, that's basically what would happen if third wave, ultra insane feminism just gained control of the world. So yeah, there would definitely be some big problems. I mean, it would be the end of the human race. But you can stop them by putting a big mask on. Okay, look. Okay, like, so now we've just gone into like Ridiculousville. I'm sorry, we've gone into Ridiculousville. So we're gonna go put like Hannibal Lecter masks on them. I mean, are they still gonna try to gouge your eyes out and things like that? Because then you'd have to put them in the little straitjackets, or it's just the face mask because they're very bitey. And that's the end of oral sex right there. But I just like a society like that, I think cannot like continue. And honestly, would it be worth living in and having it continue if it's gotten to that situation? I say no. And in fact, I mean, it would almost come to a situation where it would be the end of women. Because we would end up creating like artificial wombs, and we would, create artificial humans using the artificial wombs, and they will all have to be men because the women can't control themselves, and it's like the reverse feminist utopia, where like they would get rid of all men, and then everyone would be women, and they'd create artificial sperm or something to and things like that. I don't know. It's such a nightmare situation that I don't know if I even want to think about it anymore. But yeah, that's definitely something there. Oh man. Oh, gee, a big mask on them. That's the solution right there. We should just put big masks on everybody. It's like, hey, you got a problem with violence in the street? Let's put a big mask on them. I'm just messing. I'm just messing. Oh man, that is interesting there though. Well. Oh gee, oh gee, oh gee. My goodness. But yeah, or being a virgin. Well, the thing is, like, okay, so the thing is, I mean, you say that there's like an addiction and a compulsory. So does that mean like all the virgin women don't have any kind of compulsion? to and they know that this is going to happen to them. I mean, I'm sure there's like some that will go, look, it's going to be an awesome ride, and I'm going to become like a cannibal. So I'm going to just try to do it. I mean, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I don't know at that point. I mean, it would definitely suck for the women because, well, it's going to suck for the virgin women because they're never going to be able to, you know, like I said, they're going to have like all those dildos. Well, yeah, they don't eat man, but they can never have sex, like with a man. So it's either they're all going to have to, you know, get the program, like, you know, they're going to have their artificial male sex bots, and that's the thing, and like it's just going to be. It's going to be sad. So, like, here's the question. So if they have, you know, android sex, does that make them go insane too? Even though, I mean, they're not getting, you know, anything. I don't know. It's gone so crazy. Honestly, Jim, you should write fiction, and you should make these horrible worlds, flesh them out, write them up, and release them as novels. And you will be the new erotic Stephen King. And you will give people nightmares and erections. It will give them nightmares and erections all their livelong days. And you say, yes, the same thing happens. So they can't even get dildos. So they can't even, so they literally would have to become nuns. And there would never be, so like lesbians would turn into man-eating monsters because the minute they come, they get penetrated by anything, it's the end of the world for them. They just become man-eating monsters. That is wow. So yeah, I mean, in a situation then, like men fearing for their lives will band together, probably have to eliminate all females because they are all a potential threat. They are all a potential threat, and therefore, you know, you have to create that artificial thing to propagate the species, and it would be a bad time because I don't want to live in a world where there's all men, and I don't want to live in a world where there are women that will turn into man-eating monsters once they have sexual intercourse with anything. And I may want to live in a world where there are sex bots, though. That is probably like the only thing that I might like be fine with in that scenario. But everything else is bad and horrible, and I do not want that to happen. And I would probably find some way to get murdered quickly to have it end, because that's just bad. That's just bad. That's just really bad. But I bet you one thing. No, never mind. That thought was just kind of like. So, oh man. Oh, talk about like sidetracking the conversation and now I'm like, oh, what the hell was I talking about way before this? Oh yeah, I was talking about that whole sex thing. It's like, no, sex toys are fine and gay sex is fine. They only eat men that inseminated them and robots. So what's the difference between a robot and a sex toy? That's my question. That's my question right here. This is like, what's the difference between a robot and a sex toy? Because I think it seems like the same damn thing. I'm curious as how you would say the difference between the robot and the. I mean, are these robots like cyborgs? Like they have grown human flesh around them? Because that'd be kind of creepy. I don't know if it was sex bots made out of human flesh. Unless, I mean, I guess, I don't know. I guess if it was like, you know, not necessarily like dead human. I mean, I don't know. We're getting into some really deep shit now. But I'm saying, like, what's the difference between a sex toy and a robot? Oh, it's just this whole thing, man. Gee, it's just been crazy now. Uh, but I'm waiting. I'm waiting for your reply on that. You know, difference between sex toys and robots. I'm just curious how that works. Because is it like a mental thing then all of a sudden? I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. Crazy thing. I maybe turn this around. What would you do in that situation, Jim? I mean, what would you do in that situation? I'm curious. Would you enjoy yourself and then get eaten? Or would you join the resistance and help... No. See, sex bots aren't there for pregnant. See, that's the thing is like, you know, if you're going to get the robot thing, you know, for instance, like, you know, for guys, you know, you get a robot chick. You don't. You are definitely returning that to the shop if it gets knocked up. You're definitely like, you know, you're like, no, no, there is a problem. No bueno. So I would think that women definitely would not want to purchase a robot that would knock them up. I mean, second of all, they'd have to get the thing from. So I mean, I don't think that works the way you think it is, because the robots should not be getting people pregnant or getting pregnant. That is definitely not how they're supposed to work. That's definitely not the intent behind the whole sex bot thing. That's like, you know, because there are like dolls out there that have, you know, appendages that women can use, and their goal is not to get knocked up. Their goal is to get off. So I don't see how like the robot thing would be leading to that, because that just seems, yeah, that seems like that would be a huge design flaw in the robot. And I don't think women would buy that, because that would just, you know, the vast majority of women would not sign up for a robot that gets them pregnant. I don't know. It wouldn't. But if, for instance, we could design robots that give the already infected women the gigantic orgasm and the release, they could be used to keep them away from the normal guys and not get them eaten. But anyways. Okay. Yeah, I just don't think they would do that though, because they would, because you're still creating the problem, and I think we wouldn't create something that exacerbates the problem just so that we could propagate the species, because then we'd still have to deal with the crazy infected zombie monster cannibal women. So I don't think we would actually design robots to do that. I mean, we might design robots to do what I thought would be like maybe satiate those who are already infected and keep them away. But I mean, in the end, I don't think, you know, I mean, we would sacrifice, like, I mean, it would just, I mean, we'd have such horrible moral questions to tackle, as if we would have to enslave women, because we would know that they would turn into these insatiable flesh-eating monsters. but we need to propagate the species. So, like, the good of all of humanity over that of these women, it's such a just a moral quandary, and it makes your head think. And that's why I said no. They would have to end up creating like the artificial womb, and have to end up creating that situation, because I just don't think the way you're saying it is going to work, because there's such a horrible moral. You would have to set aside a big chunk of your morality to do something like that, and human empathy, and it would be very tough. I don't know. And what would you do is be a woman? Well, I mean, I don't think that's an option. I mean, like, I don't know, Jim the Thug, it says Jim the Thug, and of course I'm assuming Jim as a, male, but you may not be a male. But let's say you are a male at the outset of this situation. How do you actually become an actual woman? Because, yes, I know you can have sex change and you can get hormone treatments and stuff like that. But the problem still is your genes say one thing. And you would end up still getting eaten, because it sounds like it's a genetic situation where the women are going after men because of a genetic something that goes on. Because otherwise, if it's just because, someone looks like a man and they start eating them, then there will be a whole lot of women who look kind of masculine would start wearing a lot more makeup and accentuate their feminine qualities to try to avoid the big eaten. I don't know. And plus, even if, like, for instance, you could do that, I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want to be a woman in that situation. I wouldn't want to either have to never have sex, and I would never want to, become a raging cannibal. That would just be horrible. So I want to do that. I would. Oh my God! It's just. Oh, it's such a horrible thing. A horrible, horrible, horrible thing. And if it was as simple as you not looking like a man keeps you, then all the men in the world would shave their beards and get padded bras and wear feminine clothing to throw off the hungry masses of. I mean, if that was the case, then yes, that's why I would have to like cross-dress. Or like have sex with the woman, impregnate her, and then quickly run into the closet, cross-dress, and then she'll be like, "You're not a man. I'm not eating you." I mean, like, if that's the case, if that was the end all, I mean, I guess we'd be all right. I guess there'd be a lot of hungry, cannibalistic women out there who are going hungry, who are not being able to eat men because all men will automatically say afterwards in the face of these, they'll all say, "No, we are women. Sorry." And I don't know. I saw a man go that way, so you go get him. All of a sudden, we've gone into like Scooby-Doo territory. But I don't know. I mean, as ridiculous as it all is, it's gone even more ridiculous now. I don't know. Anyways, I don't know. But good question. Good question. Let's move on from this topic, because I don't want to be part of that world, and it's lingering a little too long for me. I don't know. In all actuality, I'm going to have to be ending this pretty soon. The 5 o'clock hour is rolling on. Oh my God, it's like I don't know how the weather is for any of you guys watching, but it is cold and snowy where I am. And, I know it comes every year. And yet every year I, like, hope and pray that it doesn't happen. By the way, I do have a question, because I'm looking at my my stats down here on OPS, and it says that I've had 0 dropped frames so far. And I've been wondering, has this stream actually gone a lot smoother than normal? I don't know, as you've been watching, have you noticed the action has been better than it used to be? Because, I mean, I remember, like, rewatching some of the streams, just see how things go out, and it would be like, yeah, I mean, I'm just like going, I'm like confused how, because also, like, in the last week or so, I've been having a lot of issues with my internet. It's been kind of like disconnecting, reconnecting, disconnecting. It would just sort of just drop out every so often. And it's been kind of annoying. But today has been really good. I don't know. I guess apparently maybe what was going on, they were either fixing something or whatever, and now it's fixed. And I'm surprised that, like, this thing's been going as smoothly as it is. I should, like, up the bit rate, see if I can get, like, even better results out of this. I don't know. My camera's still shit, though. My camera is still shit. Bruce Lee, Fists of Fury over here. But, oh. It's just... Oh, it's... oh, man. Definitely not used to talking for this long a period of time. I have to get back into practice, I guess. I don't know. It's just getting really hard. I'm starting to get to this point where it's like I'm considering just, like, not doing anything on social media anymore. I mean, right now Twitter is just a complete cesspool. I am so, like, annoyed with Twitter, because now it just seems like, half or even more than half is just these people talking about BS politics stuff, and they don't even know half the shit that they're talking about. Like this whole thing about the tax bill, and they had, like, this, like, tax scam bill or whatever hashtag, and oh god, the people just using it have, like, no idea. Like, they just have, like, no idea about how taxes work, and they have no idea how the government works. Like, the Senate passes their version of the bill, and they're like, oh my god, it's law, and we're screwed and stuff like that. Like, first of all, no, it goes to committee now, because you have 2 different bills. You have the House bill and you have the Senate bill, and so it goes to conference committee, and the conference committee kind of works out the differences and comes to a kind of a compromise bill. And then that gets voted on, and then that gets sent to the president to be signed. And this whole, like, and the whole thing where they're talking about, like, the idea of, like, the like, it's all about the rich and the middle class gets screwed. Well, that's funny, because from what I've read and seen, the middle class get the biggest share of the tax cuts. The rich actually get more screwed, especially those who live in high-tax states like California and New York. The rich people who live in those states actually get the shaft in these bills, because you can't write off your state income taxes, and they're the ones that are getting exploded. But the important thing is, like, they complain about, like, the whole corporate thing, which is like, it's a giveaway to corporations. And, like, well, we're actually getting the rate closer to the rest of the modern world. Like, we're, like, the highest corporate taxes by a long shot in the industrialized, first world. And we're trying to get back to a point to where, corporations are on the same line with other countries so they can compete better. But what would you do if food can talk and want to be eating and you have 35% chance to turn into the food you're eating? My God, that's just nightmare city, dude. First of all, what do you mean food can talk? Can food talk like before it's cooked or after it's cooked? And I would freaking eat it just to shut it up. But then, when you cut into it, is it screaming at you? Does it feel pain? I mean, just oh my God. And he would turn it into food. I enjoy your questions, Jim. But there are some things that are just so ridiculously infeasible that I just don't even know what I can say about them. Except the fact of the matter is, I guess I'm just going to, humanity would end up not eating, and they would be creating some sort of vitamin supplement type of nutrient stuff. We'd have Soylent Green, which I guess is going to be made of people based on the movie, but whatever. We'll just have some sort of something to replace food at that point, because it would not be worth the risk to basically become food. And it would be annoying as all hell if food talks. And oh my God, what a nightmare. What a nightmare. But people who are starving will probably not be affected at all. I don't know. The food talk after, yeah, see, no, I mean, there's no, you're not eating food ever again. That's the point. Your humanity will come up with a replacement. That's what they're going to end up doing. Or we all become cannibals because that's talking food there. And all of a sudden the women are, back to where we were. No, it's just no. I mean, as much as I love pizza, I would not want to become a pizza. As much as I love steak, I would not become a steak. Though maybe I'd like to be a glass of vodka. I don't know. Is it just the food or is it the water too? I don't know. Or the drink. I don't know. It seems like bad news. Bad news for everyone. Bad news for humanity. Bad news for the home team. Bad news for everyone all around. That would just be, once again, another nightmare situation. Write a book. Just call it Nightmares. It will definitely cause you to think about some horrible... I'm going to have some interesting dreams tonight. I'm going to have some interesting dreams. But yeah, no, people would stop eating food because people wouldn't want to put up with the conversations and wouldn't want the screaming and the mental baggage, plus the fact that in the back of your head, you're going to eat this porridge and become porridge. Just seems like a bad deal. Seems like a really bad deal. I would not want to gamble on that, and I don't think most people would want to gamble on that. And so I think a lot of people would, until they make the replacements, I think there will be a lot of people committing suicide because of starvation, and then there will be a lot of people who will just end up starving themselves, and then there will be the people who will do it, and then I guess 35% of them will end up turning into food. And then when we get to bitch about, or they'll get to hear them bitch about how they were human once, but then, they got hungry and they ate that bag of Cheetos, and now they're fucking Cheetos. You'll never hear the end of it, how they regret that they didn't choose the Doritos, because they would rather live their life as Doritos as opposed to Cheetos. Oy. Hello, Grant Matsuda. What is up? Oh my God. We're just talking about nightmare scenarios created by Jim the Thug. Realities that nobody wants ever, unless there was already a sperm-hungry, cannibalistic woman. Then, you know, that would be her dream life. So the food wants you to eat. So now all of a sudden you've got, like, now can the food move around, because then all of a sudden you're just like sleeping and the food's just like jumping up and like, I want you to eat me. I don't know, man. Oh my God, this is becoming even more nightmares. So now you're just walking by the store and all the food is like, eat me, eat me, eat me. I mean, it's like Sausage Party, except they know they're getting eaten, and they want it. Oh my God, I don't know, man. I don't want that to happen. I still stand by my point. Is like, and then I just no, I don't want talking food, and I don't want the chance to become food. And whether or not the food wants you to eat it is irrelevant. And if the food really wanted you to eat it, okay, thank God the food can't move. But if the food really wanted you to eat it, it wouldn't say shit. It would stay quiet. Because I think most people, once the food said something, they're not even going to deal. No. They're not going to, like, the food would have to be, shh, they're coming. Don't be cool. Don't say anything. And then when the person, like, scoops up a piece and is about to put it in the mouth, don't yell out, all right, it's finally happening. Because they'll just drop the fork and they'll be like, what the heck? No, I don't want this world. No, I don't want that. Nothing about that world. It's like I'd rather the cannibalistic inseminated women. I'd rather that world, Jim. I'd rather that world than the other one. I will take my chances to get eaten by women than to have the food talk and then possibly turn me into food. Like that food or whatever. I don't know. I just no. I mean that's like, you know, oh man. I mean it's like Troll too, right? You know, like, eat the food and then you become food. First they're gonna eat her, then they're gonna eat me. Oh my God! Oh gee. Oh, gee, Jim. Oh, did I miss these conversations? Oh, gee. Oh, gee. All right, at least you didn't bring up any underage women yet. Thank God. Well, first, Jim, you said they want you to eat them, and now the food doesn't care. Well, still, there you go. It's still not good. So now they're talking. So once again, talking food. No, sorry, no. And knowing the food, they'd probably be all like the Twitter shit that I've been dealing with. Oh my God! Like, but getting back to that, I don't know. I tried not on Twitter to chime in on that stuff because I don't want my feed to become just full of, you know, political this, political that. But just the wholly non-understanding that they have on these matters. Like, they just have, like, literally done zero research. And they just heard from a friend, or they heard a talking point from somebody, and then that's their reality. And they don't even bother to, I don't know, read the bill. They don't bother to look into anything. And then the worst is like when you like show them like a story that tells them that they're wrong. They're like, well, that story's propaganda, and they don't even know what propaganda means. Like everything is propaganda now to everyone. I don't know. It's just so stupid. I don't know. But so annoying because it's like, I mean, it's like on Twitter just to get information about like some of these people, you know, about what they're doing, like the whole, you know, like I got a bunch of my sports teams that I follow on Twitter because I want to know about, you know, like the things that's happening, you know, their moves, personnel moves, and stuff like that. And I don't want to like hear them like, you know, talk about that shit. I don't know. Which would you choose? So Grant Matsuda is asking, which would you choose, a world where the anime community dreams come to life, or a world where the video game community dreams come to life? Well, first of all, if you're talking about dreams as in what happens while they sleep, I would choose the anime community because I have yet in my personal life experienced or have ever heard of anyone else experience an actual dream in anime. I have, though, experienced video game dreams. I have definitely experienced video game dreams. And while the idea of regenerating health is awesome, I don't know. I think there's less chance of actual anime actually happening. Anime, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I'm just pronouncing it anime. I'm just pronouncing it that way because I do. Anyways, yeah. No, they don't care if you are afraid of them. If you don't eat the food, you starve to death. You eat or die. That's why they don't care. Well, then I'm fine. Okay. Then the world's fucked. Okay, we're not going to create any kind of alternative to nourish ourselves. So fine, whatever. But I still stand by my point, Jim. I'd rather live in the inseminated cannibal girl world than the talking food world. Talking food world is a nightmare. I mean, they're both nightmares, but just like, you know, I know for a fact that video game dreams happen, and I know for a fact, at least so far, that animated dreams do not happen. So I'm going to choose that dreams, because that community's dreams will not be anything like anything. And it doesn't even matter, honestly. Like Grant Masuda, people's dreams can be completely, entirely messed up. And anytime a dream world happens in real life, all the rules get thrown out the window no matter what. But if you're asking me if I'd rather live in a universe based on video games or based on anime, I mean, you could say video games, you would still have a world that has a great deal of it based on anime. So, I don't know. It's just weird. But I don't know. Grant, have you ever actually had a dream that was 2D? That was drawn in the manga style? Have you ever? Because I've never experienced it, and I've been watching that shit for 20 plus years. Maybe even longer than that, actually. But yeah, and I've never once had like one of those type of dreams. But I don't know. It's definitely something. But looking at the time, and I know I started this earlier than normal because I was kind of like eyeballing 5 o'clock as a hard stop for this. Because there are things that I still have to get done. Even though, you know, it's a Friday, there's some things that I have to get done. And so And I'm not even sure if there's going to be... I don't think there's going to be a game night tonight, but no one's talked to me about it, but I think I'm sorry. It's like, why live in the crazy woman cannibals world and not the talking food world? Both are very bad, but the crazy woman cannibal seems hell. True, but at least I can get a decent freaking meal. And guess what? I don't, like, here's the thing. Here's the thing, like, Jim. Here's the thing. You don't need to have sex to live. You don't. But you do need to eat. So I'm just saying, like, you know, I can deal with crazed cannibal women. I cannot deal with 35% chance of turning it into a bowl of chili. So it's a no-brainer in that situation. They're both hell, but one is one you could kind of survive. Or actually, one is one you could relatively survive. But anyways, so there's that. So anyways, so Grant Matsuda, personally, no, I've never had a dream in 2D, but I've dreamt in black and white. Yeah, actually, I think I have dreamt weird color combinations and no color before. But yeah, but that's the thing. It's like, so I don't think there can be an anime dream world, because I don't think people, I don't think our brains work that way, I guess. I mean, because we have to put ourselves in it, and the minute we put ourselves in that, we're in it. So even when I have like a dream about like video game, I'm either playing the video game, or if I'm in the video game is actually no longer CG. It's actually, you know, like reality. I've got like a real gun in my hand. Except it's not like, you know, when I get shot, I'm not getting killed. But yeah, I'm gonna have to cut it short now. Cut it short. All of a sudden, that freeze frame looked a little weird. And I'm like cutting it short. But actually, no, it's been like an hour and a half. But yeah, I've got to, plus the fact that my throat's starting to get a little messed up, but the strange thing is you don't think it's strange. But Jim, thinking about like, you know, black and white dreams, the thing is you don't really realize it's strange until after you wake up, right? I mean, it seems like a lot of things seem normal, but like when it comes to things like lucid dreaming, there are triggers that people do. Usually it's like looking in the mirror or watching clocks. So if they like always look at a clock, they always remember to look at it twice to make sure that the time doesn't change dramatically. And they make that part of their routine. So that way when they dream and they look at a clock, they get into the habit of looking at it twice. And the minute that it looks completely different time-wise, then they realize they're in a dream and they can do all this stuff. Well, I have kind of like a trigger. However, it's bad because it means I really do have to go to the bathroom. But so whenever I go into a bathroom in a dream, regardless of whether it's a good dream or bad dream, the bathroom is like the worst, most disgusting, vile, like just dirty, you know, it's either like really dirty and the toilet's like all broken or something, or it's like a weird setup and like, you know, I have to try to like pee in like this weird thing to try not to get all over the floor or something, or it's like a gigantic locker room type bathroom where it's like there's shower stalls and it's like a high school locker room or college locker room or rec center locker room type of bathroom. It's never, you know, it's either like completely trash, nasty, disgusting, or it's like a gigantic, like, you know, gym locker room type of bathroom situation. And so a lot of times, you know, when that happens in dream, I'll be like, oh man, I'm dreaming. I can do whatever I want. But oh my God, I really do have to go to the bathroom. And so I will wake up so I can go to the bathroom. But anyways, but yeah, I know you just got here, but I really do have to end it. it's been super fun, but yeah, I'm gonna try to do this again next week. I don't know. Maybe I should start doing Thursdays. I don't know if Thursdays might actually work out better, but I don't know. I'm saying I don't know. I don't know if that's true, Grant Matsuda, because he's saying like before the invention of color TV, everyone dreamt in black and white. But I remember, because I'm old, I didn't have color TV till I was maybe like 6 or 7 years old, maybe even 8 years old. I think. I'm trying to think. I think we had black and white for a long period of time when I was a kid. Because I remember when we got color TV, it was a big deal. And I don't ever remember really, like, I remember some of my childhood dreams, and I don't remember them not being the majority in color. But then again, I don't know. I mean, I don't think if it, I mean, I guess I could ask some people who like were like most of their lives in black and white television, but I don't know if that's actually a thing. But yeah, I do have to end it now. I'm sorry. I really do enjoy this time with you guys. But I mean, like, so before we go, but tell me what you guys think. Do you think that doing it on Thursdays would be better or worse? I know, like, like, because actually, like, Thursdays now for me seem to be like a really good time, because I have less to do on Thursdays now that I'm having Thursdays off from work, so I can do Thursdays. I can maybe even do it a little later. I don't know if that seems good. I don't know. Maybe I might experiment with that next week. I don't know. But I seem like the first time, like when I was doing Fridays, I didn't feel like there was all this much of a crunch for doing things. But then all of a sudden Fridays started to get like real busy. And so now I feel like there is sort of a crunch there. So I don't know. But I don't know. I don't know what you guys think about Thursdays. But yeah, I definitely like looking at the time and going, yeah, I gotta take care of some things still. And but yeah, it's been great. It's been great. I'm definitely gonna end it here. Thanks everyone I talked to in the stream, which is just basically Grant Matsuda and Jim the Thug. Even though there's like a viewer that says nothing. It can't be me, because I've had it where there was like 0 people watching before. So I don't know, but maybe it was me. I don't know. I don't know how accurate this whole person count is. So it could have just been you two all along, or just Jim, but whatever. Anyways, all right. But but thanks you guys. Thanks for the feedback too. So I mean, probably next week Thursday, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it next week Thursday. See how things go, and I'm gonna try to experiment with some things. I'm still trying to work through a bunch of other stuff. Life has been really busy these last couple months, and this month is just going to be no exception. But I'm going to see what I can do. I've got some things that I've been trying to work on, and hopefully I can get them together and produced, and perhaps have some stuff to do other than like these periodic streams. I'm still amazed that some of my videos still get like views. I'm just surprised that whole Daughter of Darkness movie review has gotten like 300,000 views all of a sudden. It's like, what? I just like jumped up. I'm like looking at my channel stuff, and I'm like looking at the popular uploads, and like, how did I get to 300,000? Anyways, but anyway, so yeah, I will see you guys later. Thanks for stopping by, everyone. Thanks for your comments, your questions, and the conversation. It was great, and thanks for listening to me and my horrible rants and my raves and whatever. And I will see you guys next time. Remember, internet, stay sexy, and don't become man-eating cannibals or talking food, because my God, holy shit. That would just be horrible. Okay, everybody, bye. Adios. Ja matane, all that good stuff. All right. Dewa mata. Zaijian, everybody.